The warning lights are blinking red on the fascist intent of a second Trump administration. And it is not an abstract threat. There are people, Americans, who literally fear Trump's retribution, just as he loudly promises at rallies if he's reelected. One of those people is retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, a key witness in the first impeachment of Donald Trump. He flagged Trump's 2019 perfect phone call where Trump pressured the president of Ukraine to open an investigation into his chief political rival, Joe Biden. But now, as NBC News reports, Colonel Vindman's wife is so worried about Trump's return to the White House that she doesn't want to celebrate her 50th birthday next month because the family might need the money in case they have to flee the country. A country, by the way, Colonel Vindman volunteered to defend and served very honorably. Colonel Vindman is the former Director for European Affairs for the National Security Council. He is currently a senior advisor to Vote Vets, and he joins me now. Colonel, it's so good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. One of the things that we hear a lot is the hyperbolic, if so and so is elected, right? If so and so is elected, I'm leaving the country. I'm out of here. You told NBC that you don't plan to leave, but regardless, this hyperbolic, excited state, this isn't just hyperbole for you. This is a real concern. Tell us about those family concerns that you and your wife have.
Sure. Thanks, Michael. Good to see you again. Well, I mean, my wife and I have a slight difference of opinion here. It's probably because my daughter classifies me as responsible for fun, my wife responsible for safety. So she thinks about, the what ifs, the worst case scenarios. I think about, how to keep Trump out of office, how to avoid this worst case scenario, not for me, not for the scores of other folks on Trump's enemies list, but the millions of Americans that would suffer through a second administration. For her, it does end up being a real concern. She wants to understand, what our situation would be if Donald Trump is the chief executive responsible for the IRS and directs the IRS to conduct, unlawful investigations. She wants to know if he uses federal law enforcement to pursue his enemies, or if he just issues instructions to his sycophantic followers to seek retribution against folks. For me, again, I'm laser focused on making sure that person never sees the Oval Office again. More so for the country. For me, I'm not intimidated. I'm out there prepared to fight him. But that's a real threat, I guess, to scores of Americans that have made his list. You, Alex, have been very, very strong in your view on this. And in fact, you've been more than sensitive to the threats and the difficulties presented by Trump and a lot of his minions. You had a message for your father, as I recall, during your impeachment testimony. And I wanted to play just a little bit of that so folks can hear what you said to your dad.
Dad, my sitting here today in the U.S. Capitol talking to our elected officials is proof that you made the right decision 40 years ago to leave the Soviet Union and come here to the United States of America in search of a better life for our family. Do not worry, I'll be fine for telling the truth.
And that's always the bottom line, isn't it, Colonel? Telling the truth. And you wear that badge in particular very well. Does all of this that's going on now, the elevation of this, are those concerns still there for your dad and other family members? And what do you say to them? Not just the conversations you have with your wife and your immediate family, but your family and friends who are also concerned about you.
I think there are concerns. My dad, of course, he's still concerned. He's turning 92 this year. He's very clear-eyed about what the kind of leadership that he experienced in the Soviet Union and how that could manifest here in the United States. For me, what I try to do is I try to raise the alarm, and this should sound alarming to the American public. The threat of MAGA, the threat of Trump is real. It is not a threat in the distant future, in November, or if he gets seated again in January. Donald Trump invited Vladimir Putin to attack NATO. I would say that probably was a contributing factor in the calculus around the assassination of Navalny.
Mm-hmm.
These stories now coming out of Moldova and the idea of a referendum in that country to join the Russian Federation, that is a testing of the waters. That is a signal that Russia is ready to be more aggressive because it has a sense of impunity. Why? Because Trump is not just the likely Republican nominee. He is the head of the Republican Party. He issues marching orders to Speaker Johnson. He issues marching orders to this radical MAGA political establishment that is now the Republican House. And that signals that absolute paralysis, not passing Ukraine aid, not taking severe actions against Putin and his regime. That's a signal to either, it's an invitation, is the way Putin sees it. So that's what I really contend with on a regular basis. That's what I want to make sure the American public is aware of. So like this, we don't have a second Trump administration.
Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, your words are a sharp reminder, particularly as we recognize we're going into the second year of this invasion by Russia and Ukraine, and appreciate your service then and your service now.
If it makes you feel any better, I have already put evac on alert. He's ready to go if it comes to that. General, I can assure you.
Hey, General, let me into the war room to see you, so I had to hack my way onto this frequency.
This better be critical, Wheelie.
Sir, come on, what is it now, please? Okay, couple of things. I'm running low on the dough. I was thinking about taking a couple of months sick leave, maybe starting today. And, oh yeah, I intercepted a transmission from Megatron.
Then send it through.
Yes, sir, right away, sir. And so I'll assume that we're good on the other stuff.
This is your last warning, insects. Relinquish what remains of the Allspark.
So who's the insect? You? What? Who's the insect?
Protect you. They were defeated on our world, and we will defeat them here.
This was just a diversion. Security teams bring up. Ravage, he's already inside. Deeds! Give me an update on that reserve. Boss readiness. What was his name? What was it?
Evac, sir.
Right, evac.
She's right in front.
We are facing a heavy, sustained attack. They appear to be after the Allspark. General! General! National security advisor! Stay down! Check it out! There is a celebration for the amateurs suicide mission!